Recently I've been thinking quite a lot about how all things are starting to change, how everything is starting to change. The season is starting to change, and things with the various COVID-19 restrictions are changing too. One of those restrictions initially was the lockdown and the really clear-cut understanding of what we had to do. Then things started to ease a little bit and change over time, whether that was the use of masks and where we could or couldn't use them, or should or shouldn't use them, or even who we could meet with and how many people we could meet with, and how that has evolved and changed over time as well. Or even in the place in which we are, whether that's locally or nationally, local lockdowns, national lockdowns, depending on where we are in the United Kingdom, whether that's in Scotland or Wales or Northern Ireland. Things are always changing depending upon where we are and the time of the year, it seems. There's a continual change, a continual evolution of what seems to be the case with the various restrictions. And I think what that's created has been a lot of frustration and a lot of people becoming quite ground down with the different changes that have been taking place. And one of the things that I was thinking about recently in this context was the fact that God in himself does not change. In Malachi in the Old Testament, in chapter 3 verse 6, it says, "I the Lord do not change." That's a wonderful reassuring truth, isn't it? To know that the Lord does not change. Then in the New Testament it says, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday and today and tomorrow. Ultimately, he never changes. God never changes. And that's a wonderful truth when we think about the various things that continue to change all the time, whether that's in our personal lives or in our nation. Things are continually changing, but God is the one who never changes. And the wonderful thing about that is because God is eternal, his love is also eternal. His love is eternal and unchanging. That's a really reassuring thing, actually, when we come to understand and come to trust in Jesus Christ, to know his love, to know the love of God personally in our lives. There's a theologian, a Dutchman called Gerhardus Voss, who asks a question and says, how do I know, or how do we know, that as God's children, that God will never stop loving me? I wonder, how would you answer that? He answers it by saying, because he never began. He looks at Jeremiah chapter 31 verse 3, which says, I have loved you with an everlasting love. God's unchanging, everlasting, eternal love. And so I wonder, a thought for you this week, how does God's unchanging, eternal, everlasting love change how you would think about this week going forward?